Good afternoon, and thanks for checking out this new video here at the Museum Modeler channel. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the new 1/700 scale F-35B set from Orange Hobby. This was recently released here in the States, and I have not been able to find a good review taking a look at what comes in the kit, so we're going to do that. Also, this is going to be a slightly different video in that I'm going to go ahead and build one of these so we can see how this little bird comes together. So come on and let's take a look at what you get inside each pack of this F-35B set from Orange Hobby. Alright, to start, what I've done is I've unwrapped everything that you get in one of these packages of F-35s. I did this because Orange Hobby and other vendors are a little bit unclear as to exactly what you're getting. I wound up purchasing 3 packages because I didn't know exactly how many birds I was going to get, because the description, at least on Free Time Hobby's website, is 3 plus 3. Am I getting 6 fighters? Am I getting 3? I had no idea. Turns out you do get 6, but it's broken down that way because you have 6 F-35s in flight configuration. You can see there the undersides, the nozzles are straight back, and the VTOL doors are closed. And then you have 6 35s in VTOL configuration. I'm just going to pick up this one because it actually snapped off in transit. These are resin, by the way. These are not styrene. And you can see there on the VTOL that you've got the space there to add the nozzle, as well as doors for the VTOL thrust. Otherwise, these are exactly the same, and you get 3 of each. So what I wound up purchasing was 9 VTOL F-35s and 9 flight F-35s. I'm going to be using these on a USS Iwo Jima kit. LHD-7. I don't think I'm going to need 18 F-35s on there, but hey, I've got them for this build or for future needs. You have vertical surfaces are separate, and then you have 3 sets of nozzles. You have their partially retracted at an angle, and then let me turn this 90 degrees, and you can see you also have the, there we go, fully downward pointing nozzles. So you do have some options for each of the VTOL configurations. You have 2 pieces of photo etch. Each one is identical. You have here, get the glare. There we go. You got landing gear doors, doors for the VTOL engines. You have the actual engines itself, right there with your rotors. And then these arches are for your nozzles. So the photo etch nozzles are a nice little touch. And then lastly, you have markings. F-35 being what it is, you have multiple nationalities here. Of course, you've got US of A, but then you have several others, Japanese. I imagine there's a British roundel in there and several others I can't tell. They may be slightly out of register, at least the top nationalities roundels. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Yeah, it's a little bit off center, but I'm not an expert on international aircraft markings. That said, the U.S. Air Force and Marine ones are all in register, so no worries there. Oh, you've got South Korea too. But that's what you get. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to build this one so we can see how it goes together. Problems, pros, cons, and a full analysis of what you get for each bird. All right, so to get started, we'll take a look at just the basic airframe. And I have put the kit here next to a dime just for a minute. So there's a little bit of a size reference. So remember, we are dealing with 1/700. I've already gone ahead and cut all the resin and photo etch and cleaned it all up. So everything is trimmed and good to go. There were no issues with any sort of air bubbles or anything. The resin is good quality. And I called this a kit a minute ago for good reason. Orange Hobby does have a pretty extensive set of instructions. This is for if the aircraft is in VTOL mode. And then flip it over and you've got level flight mode. Significantly fewer instructions, but you can see that, you know, we're dealing with a good dozen pieces of photo etch and resin. So it's not overly complicated, but it's not the simplest thing in the world either. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and get the vector thrust nozzle there attached to the photo etch nozzle, which I've got right there. So I'm going to reach over here into some CA dip the nozzle into that. And I'll try to do this on camera as best I can. It's a really awkward angle. All right, there we go. Let me actually get a card here. Oops. Let's try that again. So we have a convincing effect there. The photo etch nozzle actually has detail. That's good. Nice little touch. All right, and now I'll attach the nozzle to the airframe. Here's a note. The directions call for attaching the photo etch nozzle to the resin and then attaching the resin nozzle to the airframe. I don't like that. It actually makes it much more unwieldy to deal with here. There we go. I'd recommend attaching the resin together and then dropping the nozzle on. All right. No card. Come on, focus. One vertical takeoff and landing nozzle assembly is in place. Okay, we'll let that dry a few minutes and get to work on the next section. All right, so everything here is cured. I put a little bit of thin CA on there just to make sure that it stayed in place, and I cleaned up a little bit after the nozzle that I had neglected. So you can see that's a nice effect you have there with the vertical nozzle pointing down. All right, the next steps are to work on the landing gear. Now, Orange Hobby did something nice with their landing gear that I do wish that other photo etch landing gear sets would include. A 90-degree bend at the top of the gear where it joins and mates to the finished product. I think that's a nice little touch. It's going to really help with getting a secure, positive fit. Something that you don't always see, especially not with like gold medal models landing gear sets, which is partly why I'm so slowly working on the Abraham Lincoln, because their landing gear is just so darn frustrating. All right, the gear itself is nice. It's got an oleo and detail on one side for wheel detail, the other side just plank brass, but at least you have one side's worth of detail there. All right, and what I'm going to do is get a little CA on this and drop it in place. That was easy enough. So much so, like I said, I really wish that all PE landing gear went like that. All right. This set has you, this step has you working on all the landing gear plus the lower intake vent for the vertical takeoff and landing engines. Let me go ahead and add all of these together here on this one step. Try to adjust the camera a little bit too. Don't think that's going to focus, so, okay. Last landing gear strut. Okay. And now that lower vent that I talked about. everything here has a positive fit, which is more than I can say for a lot of photo etch out there. There's a mold on every part of the resin where you need to attach photo etch, which really helps with placement. So the engineering, I have to commend that. All right. This is going to be the end of that step. Let me just hold her up so you can see what we just did here. All right, I'm going to let this cure and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start working on landing gear doors. There are quite a few of these doors. Part of what makes this, this tiny, tiny bird kit in and of itself. Start working on attaching these. If you're curious what I'm using, it is Loctite's Ultra Gel Control Super Glue. It's not a hoppy glue, it's just a regular strong super glue available at really any mart store or home improvement store. It's the same one I featured in my photo etch railing video from a few weeks ago. It's strong, it dries quickly, but most importantly, I think, is that because it's so thick, it holds pieces in place while they cure. So if they have the enough weight where they don't want to necessarily stay in one spot, this stuff will keep them where you want them while the glue cures. I think what I'm going to do once I get this front gear attached is go ahead and pause the video, get the rest of the gear doors because this is awfully repetitive. All right, there's the front gear doors. It's going to be the same thing for doors for the main gear and then also for the rear nozzle. So we'll come back to that as soon as I've completed that part of the build. I'll let you know how long it takes too. All right, it's been about 5 minutes, so not long at all, but everything came together with absolutely no issues. Again, positive fits everywhere where we're dealing with doors. And honestly, at this point, it's becoming a fun little kit. I like this quite a bit. All right, it's now time to work on the top side of the F-35. And there's only a few real components left at this point. First off, we have the actual rotor that goes in the vertical engine right there. So I'm going to apply a tiny bit of CA and then drop this in. This is a very delicate photo etch piece. Looks like a tiny gear. I highly doubt you'll be able to see anything with that, but there you go. And put it in place right there. That is a nice detail touch that is going to pop really well with just a little bit of weathering. All right, now we have the door that goes over that intake. So let's get it installed. Again, another photo etch piece. There's no instructions for what angle at which to put this door. So I'm just going to put it roughly where it's shown in the picture. Up, fell down. Let's go ahead and readjust. So while there is a positive join here, it's not exactly a butt join. It's not the best positive join. There's a tiny recess you see here with the door opening. And it goes right in there. There we go. I'll move off camera for a second so I can make sure I've got this straight. My vision being what it is, I have to hold these things pretty close to my face to make sure it's the way I like it. Okay, happy with that. Now we have some more doors over, what would be that vent, I guess? I'm not an F-35 expert by any means. I'm going to have to learn a lot about them for when I actually start this F-35 project. Well, it's not an F-35 project. It's a USS Iwo Jima project. But she's going to need a complement of F-35s. It's going to be one of my few builds that is not based on historical data. It's going to be a bit of a future build if it were a random scenario involving the ship with a couple of other accompanying vessels. Sorry, I realized my hand was in the way there. All right, because I'm having issues with my CA glue sticking to my tweezers, we're going to pause again, and I'll come back once this guy's attached. All right, with that, we're almost done. All we have to do now is add the pair of vertical stabilizers. They are side-specific, left side, right side. So keep that in mind. I'm going to attach these just the same way, with a little dab of CA glue. There are location spots for them along the airframe, which is nice. So it's not just a, I mean, yeah, it's a butt join, but it's like a butt join plus. Okay, there's one. And two. And with that, we have a completed 1/700 scale, not 1/35th, 1/700 scale F-35. Be back for final thoughts and a wrap up in just a minute. All right, there we have it. An in-depth look at Orange Hobby's 1/700 scale F-35B kit. I am surprised to say how much I enjoyed this. I'd say that start to finish, this took me, half an hour or so, given that I was working with weird camera angles and the need to work slowly and narrate. I would say if I built this on my own, it would have taken me maybe 20 minutes. It was fun. You see a photo etch on something this size and you're a little bit daunted, but don't be. It's well designed, well engineered. It goes together nicely. I've put her here next to a trumpeter F-14 that I'm having significantly more trouble with, using gold medal models landing gear, which is nowhere near as user-friendly for scale purposes and just for that little aside. I wish that all aircraft were designed this well. So, with the exception of the cockpit, because I do like clear cockpits, I would give this kit an A+. As it is, I'll give it a solid A. Great job, Orange Hobby. All right, for more reviews and build logs and photos, please check out the Museum Modeler Facebook page, which is facebook.com/themuseummodeler, as well as the Museum Modeler blog, which is themuseummodeler.wordpress.com. You've already found the YouTube channel, but just in case something went wrong and you don't have it bookmarked, it is youtube.com/themuseummodeler. So thank you for watching and subscribing. Please leave comments or questions below. And in the meantime, hope you have yourselves a great rest of your day, wherever you may be. And happy modeling, everybody.